Good morning. My name is Judy Adams. My husband Dave and I moved to the Raleigh area in April of 2019. We settled in Anger and started looking for a church. We found Abiding Presence and decided that this is where we want to make our church home. We joined in November of 2019. A couple months later, we learned of the debt faced by this congregation. We were a little surprised. We didn't ask about finances when we were looking for a church, and honestly, even if we had known, we still would have joined. There's a vibrancy in this congregation. We feel it at work here. I have a picture I'd like to share with you. It's coming. Okay, need a picture. There we go, okay. We know what this feels like, don't we? Something exciting is about to happen. The Holy Spirit is excited, and we are terrified. That's kind of what this capital campaign feels like. It's kind of scary. How can we possibly have enough? Well, I have an idea. What we need is for all of us to go out and buy lottery tickets, and then we will hope for the best. Of course, that's not what we need. What we need is to trust the abundance God provides for us. God promises not just adequacy, but abundance. In John 10:10, Jesus says, "I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly." The challenge for Christians today is not to deal with scarcity, but to deal faithfully with abundance. When we sign papers for a home mortgage or apply for a car loan, we assume sufficiency. We assume we'll have enough. It might be tight some months, but we know we can do it. What we have will be sufficient. That same assumption should be part of our giving. God's promise of abundance is not so that we can hoard it, but so that we can be a conduit for good in this world. When we lived in Wyoming, I was privileged to serve as council president for our church. St. Paul's in Cheyenne is about the same size as Abiding Presence. We didn't have a huge debt, but we had some, and we had a cranky boiler that required frequent attention. We had expenses. My second year in office, the budget committee presented the council with the budget that was quite a bit more than our projected giving, like lots more. There were outreach projects, increasing our benevolence to the synod, developing programs for faith formation. The accessibility committee wanted to remodel our bathrooms to make them handicap accessible. We struggled with that budget as a council and finally decided to ask the congregation to approve it as written. As president, I had to ask our membership to step out in faith. I asked them to approve the budget because there was so much good written into it that we could do. And they did. They stepped up and we stepped out. It wasn't always easy. We trusted God to provide, and He did in abundance. That experience showed me God's got this. We just need to and to listen. We need the faith to assume sufficiency, not scarcity. Dave and I recently rewatched the movie The Shack. The main character, Mac, has some big time forgiving to do. He encounters the Holy Trinity, God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, in a shack in the woods. One day, Jesus and Mac go for a walk to and on the lake because Jesus can do that. Mac can see the fish swimming underneath him. When it's time to go, Mac starts to walk back across the lake, and he sinks. Jesus takes his hand and says, "I think this will go better if we do it together." Friends, we're in this together, and God is in there with us. The Holy Spirit is at work here, and she has great plans for us. I can't wait to see what that ride will look like. I'd like to leave you with one last thought. I get a Bible verse in my email inbox every day. Last week, this verse from Luke 6 appeared. Verse 38 says, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Now, I'm not exactly sure what all that means, but think about that. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, poured into your lap. I want that. And I'll bet you do too. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you this morning. I hope you will join me in living God's generosity.